Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race C Race and Strategy Guide. We're in the Group 2 machinery and we're off to Autodromo Lago Maggiore in Italy. It's the full track and it's in reverse. Now the last time we did this combination on Gran Turismo was back in the GT Sport days, back in April 2021 to be precise. So fairly new combination, or certainly an original combination for Gran Turismo 7. 10 laps to get round in this one, tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 2, medium and soft tyres are both available, both of which are going to be mandatory. BOP is on, damage is light, it's a rolling start and slipstream is real. Now this race, from what I can gather from some of the other people in the community, has not been particularly well received. Kind of baffles me a little bit. I think it's a very nice track, I like Group 2, but I think the dirty air is what kind of puts some people off. Don't get me wrong, it's a little bit of an issue in the game, but I do believe that people let it get in their head just a little bit. Will be interesting to see if the update that comes out a couple of days after this race goes live has any effect on that dirty air, maybe gets a few more people playing. Now I didn't get a chance to test all the cars on this one, but given the nature of the circuit, fast flowing, high speed corners, I can't see being anything other than the 2016 cars that will be competitive, and I just fancy the Honda NSX to be the dominant car here out of those three. Could be wrong, but I do believe that the Honda NSX is very well suited to this track. Overall though, the three 2016 cars do tend to be very well BOP'd, and I can't see there being much than a couple of attempts between all three of them. So moving on to some of the strategy, the first thing we're going to look at is the soft tyre life and performance. Now, soft and medium tyres available, tyre wear is pretty high at times 7, and Maggiore tends to be a track that kind of grinds the tyres down. Lots of high speed corners, so first thing to work out is just how long these tyres are going to last. One thing I can say at this point, these cars on these soft tyres around this track are just insane. The grip you have, how hard you can push through the corners is just absolutely mental. Absolute joy, particularly this section we're about to go through here. We have transitioned to lap 5, and as expected, those soft tyres have worn down pretty quickly. Coming to maybe about 2/3 of the lap here. Now for the first 2 laps, the tyre performance and the kind of lap times are pretty consistent. There's definitely a drop off as you get to lap 4 and 5. Lap 4 there, 1.4 seconds slower than the previous lap, was just a bad lap on my part, but we are around about a second off our best lap as we come towards the end of the lap here on lap 5, and it's definitely time to come into the pits. The tyres do not have another lap in them, so on full fuel you're looking at maximum 5 laps out of the soft tyres. For you drivers out there who are maybe on the pad, very hard on the tyres, you're possibly only looking at 4. So into the pits we come. Fuel is no issue whatsoever in this one. It's always a fairly short turnaround in the pits at Lago Maggiore, and Group 2 is even quicker because Group 2 tends to be quicker than Group 4 or Group 3. So you're only going to lose just under 13 seconds in the pits. Be careful of the white line on entry and exit, and fuel, as I said, is going to be no issue whatsoever. By the time you kind of actually come into the pits, those last couple of laps on the soft tyres, as you shall see, are not going to be a million miles off the sort of pace you can do on fresh mediums. So I can't see anybody really doing much more than 5 laps on the soft tyres initially if you're starting the race on them with the full fuel. And we will mention fuel as we move on to the alternative strategy, because it does have quite an impact on the tyre life. Medium tyres though, looking at the life and the performance of them, they're about 1.2 to 1.4 seconds slower than the soft tyres when they are the same age. Quite consistent in the 45s there, but I will say by lap 5 you are starting to get a little bit of degradation on the mediums as well, and lap 5 may well be a little bit slower. But in terms of worrying about them lasting for however long you're going to need them, you shouldn't have too many concerns. 17 minutes 48.7, the finishing time there. Definitely scope to add in another lap, I would say. PD does baffle me still at this point how we're still getting races that fall so short of that 20-minute mark. It seems like a fairly easy thing to work out if you ask me. So let's move on to starting on the medium tyres now. Obviously this is me just testing stuff, there's no point me just doing anything too standard. I thought, why not try 4 mediums and 6 softs? Is there the possibility of a undercut of some sort there? So we are on the last lap here of this run, so 4 laps on the mediums, 6 laps on the soft tyres. So this is the 6th lap on the soft tyre, and the first thing I noticed quite immediately was the fact that the soft tyres were lasting a little bit longer than I expected. So it does seem to me that burning off that fuel on the medium stint does have a decent effect on the life of the soft tyres if you use them on the second stint. It's only about 20 kilograms, but these cars are so light that actually as a percentage is a little bit more than you might think. So yeah, maybe just getting a little bit better driving the car, but as you can see as we come towards the end of the 6th lap, there's not a whole lot of front tyres left there, but they're still performing pretty reasonably. You still feel like you've got a lot of grip in the corners. We are, to be fair, on lap 9 and lap 10 here, actually going a little bit slower than we did on the mediums on the same lap in the previous run. So there's this kind of fairly nice conversion of the tyres towards the end of the race. But 6 laps is definitely possible on the soft tyres if you've got the ballet shoes on, if you've got that ability to save the tyres. It's not going to be for everybody, but it is definitely possible to get 6 laps and do an undercut of some sort. And track positioning is going to be so important in this one with that dirty air and it being so difficult to follow. So that's the test runs. That gives me all the information I need to work out the strategies. Let's take a look at those strategy options. Well, to be honest, the way the tyre wear model works and that high tyre multiplier, there's not actually too many strategy options out there. You're kind of shoehorned into a small selection of available strategies. Let's go through them each individually. So if you start at the front of the grid, you're possibly going to start on those soft tyres, use that nice clean air. 4 soft or 6 medium or 5 soft and 5 medium. It's going to depend on whether you're good on looking after the tyres, whether you're on the pad or the wheel. If you're bad, obviously 4 soft, 6 medium. Just bear in mind your last laps on the medium tyres, you're going to be suffering a little bit of degradation there as well. If you can make the softs last 5 laps, then that last lap on the medium tyres is going to be a little bit more favourable. What you're going to see a lot more people doing is the alternative. It's going to start on the medium, finish on the soft. Anywhere from probably down to, starting from P4 all the way to the back of the grid. This is going to be a more popular strategy. There's no point starting in the softs if you're in traffic, so 5 medium, 5 soft is probably going to be the most common strategy you're going to see. And if you're looking for an undercut, it is definitely possible, as we demonstrated, 4 medium, 6 soft. I don't think there's going to be anything beyond that really possible in terms of undercut strategies. You may well see a few people doing 6 medium, 4 soft. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's too long to go in the mediums. You're just going to get undercut by everyone and at the back of the queue. And as we mentioned, dirty air is an issue. It means that you can't follow the cars as closely. You get a little bit of wash, you get a little bit of understeer. Try to follow someone, it tends to be worse in Group 2 than something like Group 3 or Group 4. So yeah, if you end at the back of the queue, you could be on the fresh tyres, but you may well not be able to utilise them the way that you want to. But that's pretty much it for the strategy. Hopefully that's been useful in some way, shape or form. If you're still here, stick around. We're going to do a lap guide in the Honda NSX 2016 at Lago Maggiore reverse. Coming into turn 1, you're looking for the white lines where they cross over as each other as your kind of reference. You want to go just beyond that. You're basically taking a very, very late apex for turn 1. It means you kind of get the car in, rotated, and can be on the throttle up the hill. Very important to carry that speed up the hill here. You're looking for the end of the curb here that we're right on the middle, right in the middle of the screen. So you're kind of pulling the car, gradually taking the car to the right hand side, then flicking it to the left, down a couple of gears into these 2 very fast left hand corners. Very satisfying if you get them right. We're coming down through the downhill S now. This is full throttle. I'm not sure if it'll be full throttle behind another car. It should be though. I'd imagine these cars will still have enough residual downforce to deal with that. I used the black marker on the right hand side there as my reference to brake into Big Banky Boy, down into second gear, use a big chunk of the curb on the entry, early on the throttle, down this back straight, up over the crest of the hill. We're coming to another super fast section of the track. Absolutely amazing in these cars on the soft tyres. The grip is just insane. Full throttle down here. I'm going to pause the footage just here. Coming into a very fast S section. So again, I'm looking for where the white lines kind of converge.
as my kind of reference. Turning in before that, just flying down through these corners. You've got to be a lot more careful in this corner than you did in GT Sport. You've got a wall on the left hand side to collect you. You'll get damage if you hit that, so do be careful of that. Probably the trickiest corner on the track. You're looking for the grey wall on the left hand side where it kind of slopes down just as you get to the bottom of the slope, trail braking into this corner. Very difficult to get right, very easy to understeer a little bit wide, and we're coming on to another small straight. We're 8 tenths up on our best lap here. Obviously that was a medium lap. We're now on the soft tyres, so I'm looking for where the grey tarmac and the pink tarmac meet on the right hand side. It's a blind corner here. There's a big sausage cap on the inside, which means you can't take the mick like we used to be able to in GT Sport. You slight little lift through this fast left hander, and it's very difficult to find a braking point for this corner here. There is a black box on the right hand side of the track. To be honest, it actually feels a little bit like guesswork for myself coming into this corner, so I'll be looking at some of the other guides out there to get a reference. And into the last corner we come. Be careful of the wall on the left hand side. You will see a few people in that wall over the course of the week. You won't be able to help but laugh because it is funny. Just try not to be the one getting laughed at, that's all I shall say. But yeah, hopefully the video in terms of strategy and lap guide has been useful in some way, shape or form. I'm looking forward to this one. I have to say, I love the track. I really enjoy the track. I haven't done the testing here. The grip these cars have got on the soft tyres, some of the combination of the corners, absolutely thrilling to drive, I must say. Maybe in terms of time trial, you'll get some value from this one. Maybe people will be right. Maybe in terms of race trim, when it comes to that dirty air, it will not quite live up to expectations. But I definitely think you'll be able to get some satisfaction from this one in time trial at the very least. But it's a big week for Gran Turismo coming up. We've got what's proposed to be a fairly large update. We have PSVR 2 support coming. I will have that in hand hopefully on launch day, giving you all my opinions and thoughts on that. We'll definitely be live streaming this one at least a couple of times over the course of the week as well, so do join me for them if you can. But yeah, as I said, hopefully the video has been useful in some way, shape or form. If it has, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you on the next one, folks. Goodbye now.